What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Eric Wilson. Today, joined by my co-host, Colin Alcaves. I'm not alone this time. This is riveting. I'm so excited to be back talking with you, Colin, and not talking to myself for like 15 minutes. But
Good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. Today, me and Colin are going to be talking about some recent reports and rumors that are going around. Vince Mercogliano, who is the major beat reporter for the New York Rangers, he confirmed that if Kirill Kaprizov, the superstar forward for the Minnesota Wild, if he were to ever leave Minnesota, he would have the Rangers on his short list of preferred destinations to go to. And some of you might be thinking, well, what are the odds of him ever leaving Minnesota? Why would you want to leave the Wild? Well, just a few days ago, the Wild offered a $16 million annual average contract that would have made Kaprizov the highest paid player in the league, and as well give him the record of the highest annual average value ever of all time. And he declined it. So who knows? I don't know how likely it is for him to come to the Rangers, but I feel like after that, him declining that contract, the odds of him leaving Minnesota are definitely there. You know, he's asking for a pretty hefty bag, but I feel like if he wanted to stay with the Wild, he might have made that choice just then and there. So this is definitely something to look over, keep an eye on throughout the season as the trade deadline approaches and then heading into free agency at the end of the season. Me and Colin today are going to give our thoughts on it, what we think might happen, and what it might look like if the Rangers were to make a push for him. So we're going to get right on into that. But before we do, make sure you guys like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss notification. Be sure to leave your thoughts down in that comment section below. And be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers. But Colin, how are you doing today? And what jersey is that you're wearing?
This is my Kirill Kaprizov jersey that may be worth nothing in the near future. Anytime a big name gets thrown around, obviously the Rangers are in the conversation. I think a big reason for the Rangers being a part of this is that he is rumored to want to be in a spot with a lot of Russians, a lot of fellow Russians, a lot of friends and countrymen, and he is very close with Igor Shesterkin, Vladislav Gavrikov, and Artemi Panarin. He is interested in coming over to play with those guys. I know it was reported by Mercogliano that we will be on the short list, and I know that he also is currently on he has a full no trade, so he controls his destiny as to where he goes. So he kind of has the final say, which could definitely drive the price down for some teams, being that if they know, similar to how Kane said he would only play for the Rangers when he was traded from the Blackhawks, and we were able to get him, I'm pretty sure, without even giving up a first.
That was an incredible trade for Patrick Kane. Just unfortunate the way that it worked out.
Yeah. But I'm not saying it's going to be obviously the same, or we wouldn't have to give up a first, but I think it would drive down the price significantly if Kaprizov kind of backed Minnesota in a corner. Now, it's not a guarantee that he's leaving, but turning down that kind of money, it's well over. It's $1.5 million, I'm pretty sure, over the next highest contract. And, definitely a concern. If I was a Minnesota fan, I would be concerned as an owner of this jersey. I do love this jersey, and I don't want to see, it become totally useless to me. But if he was to come to the Rangers, I would be ecstatic. He's a phenomenal player. The guy who's almost always been a point per game. The only time he wasn't was his rookie season when he had 51 points in 55 games. So he still was right there. Just a complete package of total talent. He was in conversation for the MVP before he got hurt last year. With the pace that he got off to. Even still, he only played 41 games, and he finished 16th in voting for the Hart, which I know 16th is kind of hard, but for only playing half the season, still impressive. So, definitely a player to keep your eye on. There's still a ton of developing news. We're finding out a little bit more each day on, what's going on. If, they've asked to trade him, I don't think they have yet, or if he's asked to be traded, what his list of teams would be. So I don't know where Vince is getting that, but I have heard that there is a list out there. So they must have had some sort of communication back and forth. Like I said, very preliminary early on, but obviously very exciting to talk about.
Yeah, it is still very early on, but this is sort of a very urgent matter for Minnesota because you have to assume Minnesota is going to do everything in their power to keep Kaprizov on their team. they already offered him that massive contract that would have made him the highest paid player in the entire NHL. I expect them to make an even higher offer because he's the type of player that you don't just let leave. You're going to continue to up that price and hopefully work something out. And if Minnesota is going to do that, they have time, right? This isn't like he's going to get moved or be re-signed within the next 2 weeks. They have the whole season. He is entering the final year of his contract. So come trade deadline, I'm sure he's going to be the largest name that's circulating if he's not signed or extended by that point. And if he doesn't end up being traded at the trade deadline, then he's going to hit free agency. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent in 2026. So that's when we're going to have a whole lot of teams in on that right there. And I'm sure the Rangers will be too. The scary part is just the contract itself, right? If he's turning down $16 million annually to play for the Wild, I mean, let's just think why that might be. Maybe he's turning it down because he wants a change of scenery and he wants to go to a team like New York or whatever other teams are on this short list. Or maybe he's turning it down just because he wants more money. Whatever he makes, whether it be 16, above 16, a little bit below, it's going to be a lot of money, and it's going to take the Rangers a lot of work if they were to make it work for Kaprizov. Panarin, when his contract expires, is going to need to take a major pay cut. You're probably going to have to see some pretty notable roster players be moved from the Rangers, because at this point in time, I get it, we're not completely strapped for cap, but we cannot fit a contract that large onto this current roster. There's just absolutely no way. So sure, it would be amazing to see a player like Kaprizov join the roster, but you also have to factor in what is Chris Drury going to have to do to make it financially feasible. So I will say that is my only – I don't even want to call it a negative, because whoever we have to get rid of, it might just be worth it. So I don't want to – it would depend on who has to go. But I would love to see him on the team. He's a very dynamic player. I would say out of all of the players in the entire NHL who are not on the Rangers, he's probably my top 3 favorites. We all know I love Jason Robertson. He's probably my number 1 non-Ranger. Number 2 might be Kaprizov. He's a very fun player to watch. And he reminds me a lot of Panarin. He's friends with Panarin. I'd love to see it. We can just become the Moscow Rangers at this point. Vlad, Igor, Artemi, and Kirill. I think it'd be a dynamic team, super talented, and I think our chances of winning the Stanley Cup would raise drastically if we were to have him on our team. Again, the only thing holding me back from 100% being like, go for it, Rangers, let's do it, is just what's it going to cost? It's a expensive buy, but yeah, it's a worthwhile one in my opinion.
It would be difficult. I'm looking at the lineup here. We have to keep in mind the fact that he is a left wing. And left wing, I mean, we have a lot of players there. We have Panarin, who, if you want to bring him back, he will come back at a cheaper rate, I think, after this deal expires, just because he is getting up there a little bit in age. He is still very effective, so he's not a player I'm interested in getting rid of. I'd like to bring him back on the right deal. Will Cooley's playing left wing, and then you have Gabe Perreault. So you bring in Kirill Kaprizov, you're effectively stopping Gabe Perreault from ever sniffing the top 6. It's going to be a long time.
And that's also right. If these players are stuck on the left. We saw Alexi Lafreniere switch from left to right, and that worked out pretty well. I'm not sure how comfortable Cooley or Perreault would be making that switch, or even Kaprizov at that point. I enjoy watching him. I watch a lot of highlights, but I'm not a Minnesota Wild fan. I don't know the history of his entire career in detail. Has he ever tried the right side? I'm not sure. That's one of those things that we don't know, but it's
I don't know. It doesn't look like it. He's listed as a left winger every year. It also says that Gabe Perreault has played right wing before, so it's not entirely out of the question. I think if you're talking about players that you'd probably see bounce from the team, I think if you were to try and make a move for Kirill Kaprizov, you're effectively saying, Vlad, Mika Zibanejad, you have to get rid of him at that point.
That's fine. Fine with me.
Mika Zibanejad's contract would be half of what Kaprizov makes. And the cap is expected to go up significantly for the next couple of years. I keep seeing reports. I saw one of my buddies sent me a thing this morning we were talking Rangers Islanders. He's an Islanders fan. He sent me an article saying that the cap could go up by as much as double in the next 10 years.
That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy. The likelihood that it happens, I'm very skeptical, but it's not entirely out of the question. So, I mean, it would definitely make a big contract now more feasible. If the cap kept going up, it would definitely age a lot better and look better towards the end, as a lot of these bigger contracts do with these superstars. I mean, you look at the deals that like Crosby and McKinnon signed, and their earlier contracts, and they were on steals for a while. That Makar contract looks great. The Fox one looks really good. Just a couple off the top of my head. But as the cap goes up, some of these contracts just continue to look better and better and better. So it would definitely help with that. But yeah, I mean, it would take a lot of juggling by Drury, and we've seen him do it. But I mean, this one would be probably our biggest swing since Panarin. It would be difficult to do, but I mean, boy, would it pay off. He is just a disgusting player, Kaprizov. He's sick.
Yeah.
I mean,
look, if losing Zibanejad is all it's going to take.
No, it might take a little bit more than that.
Well, I mean, whatever we have to give up in a trade package, of course. I just mean financially, like clearing cap to make it happen. I'm sure you might have to throw in like a major prospect. You might even have to throw Perreault in that trade if we're going at him at the trade deadline. And I wouldn't be shocked if like Lafreniere might even be a part of that.
My next player probably would have been Lafreniere. The two of their contracts combined would get somewhat close to what Kaprizov is making. But then you're losing two solid players, especially if Lafreniere takes that next step. And Zibanejad on the wing was a lot better last year. I know I had a tweet out there, the splits, and we've gone over it. But yeah, I mean, you'd be effectively trading depth for star power. So, you know, it's really about where you want your points scored, and if you think that Kaprizov would add more value to a line than those two do to their respective lines. So, I mean, there's a lot of things to weigh in. There's a lot of factors. Obviously, a guy like Kirill is perfect for Broadway. It's exactly what the Rangers always do. Not saying that's the wrong move, but like we look at what they do with Panarin, and everybody loves Panarin. It's been very good for the Rangers. Unfortunately, it hasn't panned out just yet. They've gotten pretty close, though. And the Rangers are always love to go big fish hunting. And a guy with Kirill the Thrill, as his nickname, Dollar Bill, on Broadway, it just seems a little too good. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, very early on, a lot of things that would have to happen and fall into place. On top of the fact that we don't even know what it would take to acquire a player of this caliber, because you'd assume they'd probably want to trade him or for him, so that way they could get that extra year of the signing rights to bring that AAV down a little bit and give him more term. Or they could just try and go out of a free agency. Who knows? But either way, I don't think if I'm being totally honest, I think if he wants to stay in Minnesota, they'll do whatever it takes. He's a very, very good player, probably the best player on their, or hands down the best player on their team. And you're right, he is probably, in my opinion, a top 10 player in the league. I'd find it very hard if they let him go. I was actually surprised that they were willing to throw 16. So I don't know what their plan is, but I'd be surprised if he left. I think maybe it was just like a wake-up call to Minnesota that maybe it wasn't enough. But we'll see. What happens.
I mean, again, it's all speculation. This is just based on like one report that Kaprizov just has the Rangers on a list. I mean, honestly, if I had to create a short list of where I'd want to go, I'm sure the Rangers would be on it too. Does that mean I'm going to go play for the New York Rangers in the next year? Maybe I'll make that decision. That's fully up to me. That they have a contract ready. But
on the list, I think Tampa is also there. The Kings or another team. I don't know if the Blackhawks or if that was just speculation. But I mean, these are all teams that are pretty close to the cap that would have to do some significant moving as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's not going to be easy for anybody, especially if he's looking for that kind of money. I don't know if this was just a no. I don't want that money because I don't want to be here. I don't want to live in Minnesota for another 8 years, 7 years, whatever it may be. Or if it's a no, that's not enough.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see as it progresses. You know, this is an ongoing, developing story. This video could be for nothing. We could wake up tomorrow and then he just signs with Minnesota. But it's an interesting idea. I would love to see him come to the Rangers, and at least at the end of the day, it's a positive that he wants to come here. I think that's just a good sign. I'd rather know that we're on his list and I have a little bit of hope for the future rather than just being like, oh, he's going to go somewhere else. Don't even worry about it. But we'll see. If there's any updates, me and Colin will be back to talk about it. But until that day comes, thank you, everyone, for watching. If you all did enjoy, be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell so you miss notification. Once again, leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers. But most importantly, have a good one. And let's go
Rangers.